Good morning. Thanks for coming. I'm a bit bleary-eyed. It's been a cracking couple of days already at Rouleur Live. And I've been on stage a few times, talked about road, talked about gravel, and now we're going to be talking about the boards, about track, about the future of track cycling, basically, and humbled, really, to be on stage in a few moments' time with, we've got 2 Olympic champions that we're going to be speaking to, as well as the man behind the new UCI Track Champions League, which is a very, very exciting proposition. So we're going to talk about the future of the sport, where the sport is now, the tech behind it, and also 2 Olympic champions and their perception of their own career and where things are now. So it's going to be a very exciting, hopefully, presentation. But first up, we'd like to welcome on stage Olympic champion of 2020 from Canada. It's Kelsey Mitchell. Put your hands together, please. Kelsey, take a pew. Let's have a little look at some of your best bits. There you go. Olympic champ. Take a pew. Take a pew. Wherever you want to go. I think I might plonk myself there, so I'm not craning my neck. And next up, Mr. Ed Clancy. Come on, Ed. I mean, he's showing off, really, isn't he? It's ridiculous. Yeah, I lost count of all his championships and Olympic medals, basically, so I've just given up. But yeah, that was a highlight there. Next on stage, though, just to set all this in context, is the man behind, the brainchild of the new UCI Track Champions League. It's just welcome on stage. Mr. Francois Ribeiro.
Here comes Nicholas Paul. It will take a very big man to beat him at a moment such as this. The crowd know this as well. Here comes Hurried Invasion. A lot tighter than anyone thought. Nicholas Paul can hold him. Oh, Invasion comes through at the very last. The 200 marker is coming up. Paul's just on the outside. He gets taken all the way up by Darash. And look at this. I'm ashamed for this man, Nicholas Paul. Now watch this. We're going to see a bit of on board here. Now what happened here? Wants to come and join the party on the final lap, and contact between the pair. Katie Archibald is gone. She's reacting to the crowd. She's got family here. Katie Archibald has it all for this. What a battle we have ensuing, and Efting says, who was up there? Crash, we've got as well. More memories off the case.
There you go, Francois Ribeiro, the brainchild behind the new league. We're going to be talking. I think that gives you a real flavour. Thrills, spills, tech, lots to talk about. I think, if you don't mind, we'll kick off with yourself, Francois. Track cycling is over 100 years old. It's a brand new era. But tell me how this current league came to pass and your involvement in it, and what was the brainchild behind it, and why do you think it's important?
It's a good question. Well, the group I'm working for, Warner Bros. Discovery, includes Eurosport, includes GCN. So for our group, cycling is absolutely everything. Olympics too. We are also a big Olympic broadcaster. And we wanted to go beyond our broadcaster role. And when we looked at cycling, and track cycling in particular, the Olympic discipline, we were wondering why the sport was so high every 4 years during the Summer Olympic. And why did it go down in between 2 Summer Olympics? And we were intrigued by this. So we went to UCI and knocked at their door and said, look, as an event promoter, we think we would have all the skills, not to change the sport, but maybe to re-energize it, to change a little bit the format, and make something for the athletes to keep the narrative of the sport very high in between 2 Summer Olympics. And UCI was not against the idea. I think they have been scratching their head for a few years, actually.
Yep.
And we proposed them something very bold. So we kept only the categories that anyone can understand: the sprint, the carrying, the elimination, and the scratch. And we said, look, we want to do something every year. A season for track cycling, November, December, on the back of the World Championship, where riders can stay at the peak of their form. And we made the promise to ourselves that whatever we were doing in track cycling, we wanted to have the climax. I think everybody probably here remembers how track cycling has been high in London 2012 in terms of atmosphere, engagement of the fan. And so we wanted to have that level, but bring on top of this the technology, the entertainment, the show, to make an evening, to deliver a platform for the athletes where they could make their living, raise their profile, but also for fans to enjoy track cycling that they have probably never seen before.
It's an interesting point, and the rhythm of track cycling traditionally has been based around the Olympic cycle, and there definitely is a lull. You still have the World Championships in between, but there's been several abortive attempts at various leagues which have been quite disparate and separate. And Ed, you've been around for a long time, mate. Nearly as long as me, but not quite as long as me. You've been around for a long time. Was there much consultation in relation to the formats? How much involvement did the riders have, for example?
Yeah, there was a little bit early on. I remember speaking to Francois and the team, probably the best part of 2-3 years ago. Even James Pope was in contact, actually, one of the event organisers, a long time, even before coronavirus.
Right, okay.
Yeah, talking about like what the format's going to look like. And what was core was always entertainment for the fans.
Yeah.
Francois spoke about technology, and last year there was heart rate data, powered data for every rider. And this year they're going to expand on that. There's going to be even more technology, every rider, every race, live, all the time. And it brings it alive.
Yeah.
Cycling's been getting more and more data-driven. You've mentioned how I've been getting on. And, even in my lifetime in the sport, we just started off with a heart rate monitor and pretty much a finger in the air.
Yep.
And, these days, everyone's got a set of power cranks. Everyone's in a wind tunnel. I work with the research and innovation team now with British Cycling. Everything's so data-driven by aerodynamics and biomechanics and powers and heart rates and training stress scores. And, for me, maybe I'm biased. That's what makes cycling the best sport in the world. It's that integration of person and machine. So hopefully this Track Champions League can keep bringing that data to life for the fans.
Because I think there's a bit of a misnomer that data sets are dry, uninteresting, but if you incorporate them in the right way, they can enrich the sport, and especially if you do that in a way that's innovative, exciting, just in relation to the way the graphics displayed, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But Kelsey, what's your impression of the league so far? I mean, and you're relatively young. I can't say to you you've been around a long time because you haven't. You're young. You're already an Olympic champion. You're quite new to cycling, although you certainly hit the ground running from being obviously participating in different sports. But what does it feel like for you? Because I guess there's not a lot of context to set this against. So what is it like for you now? What's your perception of what's going on?
It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, I watched back through Back on Track, the series, and I watched back through the 3-hour sessions, and it was amazing to be a part of, and it was amazing to watch and be part of the audience. The lights were incredible, the atmosphere, like everyone's giving their absolute best, and there's a lot of money on the line. The crowd is here, especially London's insane. Like the crowd is incredible, and yeah, I've never been a part of anything like this, and so there are no real words. It's an incredible experience.
I think one thing that I was chatting to Tom Bonan last night about how important the participation of the crowd is. And if you set the stage and you have an entertaining proposition, the athletes themselves can feed off the energy from the crowd and vice versa, and all you get is a far better proposition. So just back to you, Ed, briefly. When you are in the velodrome racing and the crowd are behind you with that kind of energy, you get these adrenaline dumps, don't you?
Yeah,
and you do lift your own performance, and that engagement is enormously important.
Yeah, massively. And you know, for so long we worked with Professor Steve Peters, psychologist, performance consultants on how to manage your emotions and, you know, how to deal with pressure and how to sort of like block everything out and just keep bringing things back to process. But there's no escaping it. Cycling, sport, track cycling in particular, you know, the velodrome, it's an emotive environment. There's thousands of people screaming, you know, in a random stadium. There's nothing logical and pragmatic about it. It's kind of tribal in there. And yeah, for sure, I think it's not only got the potential to, like, you know, make people's races and like elevate people to a new level. Yeah. It's got the ability to sort of, you know, crack people as well. Track cycling's, a lot of it's about performing on the day. You know, Kelsey will tell you that. I mean, I think you've been a great road cyclist, Matt, and I've had a dabble myself. I think with road cycling, you can sort of maintain a sort of A level, and you can let the sort of races dictate which are going to be your good days and bad days. You know, track cycling is all about peaking for 4 events this winter, or 1 event that summer, and not breaking under the atmosphere and the pressure of the place.
Yeah. I want to do a quick straw poll, actually. How many of you in the audience have actually been to a live track event? Stick your hand up. What?
Great.
That's pretty cool. And how many of you haven't? So, Francois, tell these guys why they should come and tell them what they can expect.
Well,
give us a bit of an outline about the league itself and also the tech, the whole thing. Sell it to them now. You have this opportunity.
First thing I have to tell you, Steve, I have to be honest, Saturday evening is sold out.
Oh, sorry.
In London.
Can we get these guys?
We still have there are still a few tickets available on Friday evening. Not many, but I mean, we made a survey last year. After immediately, I think we made the survey with 5,000 people who attended Track Champions League final in London. 99% of them said, yes, I want to be back next year. So, because I think we put all the ingredients. I don't know how many of you have been attending Track Champions League final last year in London, but I think it was the sport at the best possible level. But we brought, on top of this, we turned the entire track during the opening ceremony with 3D mapping as a movie screen.
Wow.
It's quite spectacular. We bring 50 tons of equipment, sound, light, the LED screens. So this year, we will display on the LED screen during the races, when Kelsey is racing, we will be able to explain you guys how is she performing live on the LED screens. We will put live speed, live heartbeat, cadence, and power, and we will display those data on LED screens as she is going around on track. I mean, nobody has done this before.
No pressure.
I think we're looking at the app now. We'll talk a little bit more. We'll dive deeper into technology a bit more in a moment. But Kelsey, for you, you know, cycling is quite a solo pursuit. Okay, there's the dedication, there's the sacrifice, there's the suffering, there's the joy, there's the elation, and a lot of that is outward-facing, but a lot of it is quite private. So what does it feel like for a rider? You're there on the day, and all your data is being shared for everybody to see. There's no hiding place. Obviously, they can see the physical performance, but then you're basically stripped bare. How does that feel? Is that something that you, or have I described it too viscerally for you? So what's that like, having yourself laid bare? Do you care, or do you find it intriguing?
I mean, let people see my data, and I want to look at other people's data. I want to see what powers people are doing. I want to know what speed I'm hitting, and the best rider will win on that day. So yeah, let them see my data.
Yeah, just in case you don't feel exposed enough when you're in track center with a skin suit on.
Yeah.
But that's the bit that I love about track. The whole proposition is the fact you essentially live in track center. You're there having, you know, you're eating, you're drinking, you're taking your clothes off. I mean, there's a bit of extra entertainment there. But there's a rawness to it. It's super modern. Especially all the technology, but there's a real honesty to it, isn't there?
Yeah.
I mean, and although you're doing these really explosive, shorter events, there's an endurance side of it, and the endurance isn't just, it's the bits in between, constantly in the public eye as well. That's quite interesting, isn't it?
It is. It's an interesting dynamic, and yeah, there's definitely things you wouldn't get away with in the real world, like taking your clothes off track centre and all that. But the rawness, I love track bikes because they're so simple.
Yeah.
There's not an ounce of fat on them, if you like. There's no lights, there's no mud guards, there's no gears, there's no brakes. It's a bike, pure and simple, fixed gear. And for something on one hand that's so technology and data and information driven, and on the other hand, it's just so like raw and basic. You know, there's no pavements, there's no red lights, there's no curbs. It's just people in a sort of power to drag equation. And yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Steve, I have a question for you.
Not about my power, please. Please. Not my data strip there.
How long do you think you would manage to stay in front of a of a TV screens if we were watching together a Formula One race without any data?
We were just having a bit of it would be exceptionally dull.
That's
I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Formula One, but I do watch it because it's, I think it's the innovation and the tech side of it that actually draws me to it. I prefer MotoGP because it's more like cycling, there's more cut and thrust. But you're quite right. The data, I think personally, it's not just an added extra that makes it look nice. It's inherently important for it to work as a proposition. So yeah, it would be very dull, I think.
I think data is super important for the narrative of the sport, but also to highlight their performance. Because, I mean, more and more people have access to a power meter and put it on their own bike, so they have a pretty good idea of the power they can deliver, the speed they can deliver. And when they will be able to compare their own data to an Olympic champion or to a world champion, you will be blown-minded. I show you something if you want to say what I show you. We did a media day 2 days ago in Paris in the Velodrome, and we put quite famous journalists on the bikes on the Velodrome. And we measured their data. And then we allowed them to compare their data to a world champion.
I remembered, you showed me this, so basically it's two sets of this, was it one lap, flying lap,
One
I
lap.
think, wasn't it? So the journalist, I can't remember his name, averaged 44 k's an hour, and the athlete managed 67 k's an hour. The journalist did 607 watts peak power, and the sprinter did 1,650 watts peak power.
Yeah.
So even if you have a loose understanding of power and speed, you're like, it does set it in remarkable perspective, doesn't it? It really, really does. And just before we move on, I want to touch on these guys' experiences as Olympic champions, because I want to just get a sense of that, and I think the audience will. But can you just speak specifically, Francois, a bit more about the app, which, again, can enhance the people's understanding and experience of what's going on?
So the app is free to download. The app has, all the results, obviously, all the social media, but you also have the possibility to have on your app all the live data and compare head-to-head riders you want to have an insight on. So that's the first bit. But for this year, we will do something very new in the sport. We go the step further as a digital experience. We will Discovery Sport Events will be releasing the full digital experience of the Track Champions League in metaverse. So that means that you will be able to connect. That's meant to attract a younger audience, a different audience, which is probably not watching track cycling on TV.
Here. Yeah, okay, good.
And in metaverse, we will include 15 different TV feeds live. So there will be the feed you can see on TV, but if you want to follow Kelsey, yeah, that's possible.
Brilliant.
You will be able to switch on her onboard camera on her bike and follow the entire race with her. We will put a camera on the UCI referee. We will put a camera on the floor manager, the one who is probably as close as you can get from the riders. All the data will be available. There will be spaces to interact directly. Fans can interact directly with riders before, during, and after the competition. So that's something very new. It will be also free to access. we will be releasing in the next in the coming weeks the domain name to type in. But I'm sure that again that is something which will bring the sport to the next level in terms of presentation, in terms of modernity. We don't change the sport, we change its presentation.
Yeah.
And that's the key message of the Track Champions League. This is a championship which is meant for the athletes. We don't revolutionize the way we do a scratch race or the way we do a keirin. That's same as Olympics. But we want to definitely change completely the perception of the sport and bring a new audience to it.
Well, it's certainly, I mean, I know I'm definitely come along. I know you offered
Please.
me, I will come along in a few weeks' time. But Kelsey, 2020 Olympic champion in the sprint. How's your life changed?
I mean, I'm still doing what I do every single day, and I love it.
Yeah.
I get to ride my bike, I get to train hard, I get to push my body, I get to travel the world, come to things like this, and represent Canada, and it's a dream come true. And so, yeah, it's changed, but I love the daily grind, and I'm back at it, and I just want to be the best I can possibly be in this sport.
So I understand, and it's fascinating, you came into cycling almost by mistake, and then you end up as an Olympic champion, multiple Pan American champion, silver medalist in the World Championships. Just give us a little bit of insight into that accident.
Yeah, I played football. I played football my whole life. I played at university, finished up, and I attended a identification camp, and basically I did a vertical jump. And they're like, you have pretty good leg power, let's try you on a bike. And so I got on a watt bike, and I did like 1,300 watts seated. And I was like, I don't know what that means.
I've never reached 1,300 watts in my entire life.
Straight off the football pitch.
Not straight off, but I'd never ridden a bike, yeah. Yeah, and so they were impressed, and I was like, okay, cool. And they're like, we're going to try you on the velodrome. And I was like, I don't know really what a velodrome is or anything about it. And so I got on the bike, and I'm strapped in, and there's no brakes, and I'm, a little bit stressed. But I fell in love with the speed and, then all the numbers and the data, and I can, compare myself to previous Kelsey and, what's the standard I have to hit. And I love that aspect of it, just constantly competing with myself and just getting faster and faster. And I was always team sports, but this was obviously very individual. So it was all on me, and I kind of liked that. And so trained hard every day. COVID actually helped me a bit because I had an extra year to try and close that gap with everyone else in the world, and showed up at the Olympics in the best shape ever and won a gold medal.
Absolutely fantastic. I mean, and Ed, we had some of your results up there. I don't need to list them. You're, remarkably successful and still riding really, really strongly. But what to you what lights your fire still? You're still, you've got that sparkle in your eye, but what's the most enjoyable part of getting on that track and doing what you do? What makes it so special?
To be honest, the best thing about retiring is riding bikes. It sounds like a contradiction, but you almost become a machine that generates numbers. And I started riding bikes and playing mountain bikes and BMX and racing just because it was fun. It was good banter. It was getting out. It was socializing. This whole event here is about gravel bikes and road bikes, and it almost became just like your job. And whilst there was definitely a beauty behind that struggle, as Kelsey could articulate there, there's nothing better than standing on top of a podium, particularly with your best mates, being best in the world after coming out of that pressure cooker.
Yeah.
But the best thing about retiring is that you can enjoy bikes.
Yeah.
I ride my mountain bike whenever I want. If the sun's out, I'll go for a pedal down the Pennine Trail on my gravel bike. No stress, no coaches, no message when I get back because it's been automatically downloaded onto Training Peaks. I don't miss. But back to the Olympic stuff, if I could go back in time and be Kelsey's age, I wouldn't have changed a thing. You do, you've been there yourself, Matt. You sacrifice your youth and weddings and funerals and birthday parties and Christmases to do it. But having had a bit of a taste of retirement now, I already know there's going to be there's nothing that's going to replicate, and I like that, yeah.
And we're still, I say we, certainly not me, but you're going faster and faster and faster. If you look at the amount of records that have been broken in the last 3 years, there's only 3 records that have stood, maybe 2 now, pre-2019. So we're still going quicker, aren't we?
Big time, yeah. I think everyone's cottoned onto this idea of aerodynamics and biomechanics and how that can help people win medals too. It's no longer a secret. But I also think the athletes are better. And I don't want to diminish my achievements too much. But, you know, when you hear about Kelsey, he sits on a bike and makes 30, I had to work to get 1,300 watts, you know? And I think there's just, because the sport's bigger now in general, cycling's bigger, there's a bigger pool of riders going into track cycling in particular. And for sure, I think there's a greater strength in depth, and you're getting the super athletes turning up as well, that are raising the bar as well as the technology.
Yep. I think we've got a little video of some tech bits to look at. Well,
everyone's seeing this.
I didn't know that was coming.
I didn't.
Nice. You look happy there.
I was happy.
Look at that smile.
Is this in black and white?
Slightly frozen there. Actually, Francois, a quick question for you. This is I'm going to put you on the spot here, mate. Would you be willing to do a lap and have your data for people to look at and compare to maybe Kelsey, for example?
I did it. I did it.
Sorry, man.
I did it last year. I mean,
Okay.
I was absolutely ridiculous.
But I think, actually, another poll. How many of you have ridden on a velodrome? Okay, it's about, and how many of you haven't? About half? I mean, actually, Ed, we're so blessed in the UK, aren't we, in relation to the amount of velodromes we have. We're spoiled.
Yeah.
But it's never too late to drop in and just feel it. There's something, it's different. I mean, I still get quite nervous when I ride on a track, you know, but
everyone does it. Everyone goes to a velodrome, and most people do exactly the thing you shouldn't do, which is go into the stands before the session. You know, stand at the steepest part of the track and stare down a massive vertical wall, and then convince themselves that you can't do it. But it's so accessible, actually.
Yeah.
The Manchester Velodrome, it costs about 15 quid to hire a track bike and some shoes and a helmet, and you get a coach there, and you can turn up with yourself, your mates, your work colleagues, and have a day out on the Manchester Velodrome, Newport Velodrome, Lee Valley, which is just down the road here. It's massively, that's a great picture.
that might be a certain Geraint Thomas there as well, Matt Bramier as well.
That's right, yes, Geraint and Matt.
Look at his little face.
I saw Geraint at the weekend. He was about 30 pints in, and it looked like he'd aged at that point. Yeah. No, it's a great picture. It's junior track nationals. I think that I'd have been second year junior. Geraint was first year junior. And we're all still good friends now. So Matt Bramier in the orange there, he's coaching the under-23 riders now. So it's funny how it's all gone full circle. And Geraint's still getting podiums in the tour. So.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
There you go. Here, there. Rogues Gallery.
Clearly lost the bet there and had to shave my head.
Flipping heck. That's a wonderful picture.
Yeah.
Actually, Kelsey, we touched on your first time on a track bike. Can you actually remember what I would imagine, because it wasn't that too long ago, can you describe that very first feeling when you get on a bike, having not even known really what a velodrome is? I mean, and doing that for the first time, how nervous were you?
I was pretty nervous. I didn't make that mistake. I didn't go and look down. I started at the bottom. I didn't know anything about padded shorts or bib shorts, so that was an experience in itself. But I just started at the apron, slowly made my way up to the top, and you don't think about it. You don't realize that you're at the top until you look down, and then you're kind of like, oh my gosh. But adrenaline kicks in, you go a little bit faster, and you're just having a good time. Yeah, no, I loved it. It was just, I never rode bikes. I would run and jump and play basketball, volleyball, and so now to be going 60K an hour,
Yeah,
it's something else. I don't know. It was amazing. I love it.
I think given again the relatively short amount of time you've been doing the sport, and then the sport you end up doing is to sprint. I know you're saying your weakness is maybe tactics, but you're already Olympic champion. That's a real fast track. I mean, because it's so nuanced, isn't it? There's obviously the raw strength, but every single sprint you're going to learn something new. But how do you think you learned so fast how to do it? Because you can't just rely on raw power, although that's an important factor. But how did you learn so quickly the tactical side of what is ultimately a quite complex sport?
Yeah, I relied very heavily just on pure power at the beginning, and so I was dying after every round. I wasn't saving any energy, but I would be winning. And so I'd have to go through all these rounds, and I'm just like on the floor dying, but that's the best sort of training, you know? Like, I want to win every race that I get on the line, you know? So yeah, I guess it was the raw power and then just getting repetition in. And I'm like, oh, if I sit behind someone, I can do a little bit less work. And then, or if I use the track, I can come down and gain some speed. And so it just started to click, and yeah, I mean, I still have so much to learn, which is really exciting because it means I can get that much faster and hopefully win some more medals. But yeah.
Fantastic.
What do you, can I ask you a question, Matt?
You can, yeah, please, far away.
What do you think to like the danger of it now? I mean, like, you know, with aerodynamic developments, there was a couple of horrific crashes in the Commonwealth Games, and I think in part of that's just the super athletes and the technology, and I don't know, it's an interesting thing. I mean, I'm a spectator now, so I couldn't care less, but it's...
Yeah, why would you, yeah. Well, I used to go in the front a lot because I was like, that seems like the safest place to be, or I'd be out the back. So now I'm trying to get in the mix of everyone, and yeah, just shoulder to shoulder at those speeds, and you know, I was very twitchy at first, but now I can take a little bit of a shoulder, and you know, like I can handle it. I'm a big girl, I can
Is it
throw
something
it back.
that needs to be policed more? I mean, we were talking about Formula One earlier, and that's obviously like heavily scrutinized, and you know, stewards all over every maneuver, and there's 5, 10-second penalties, stop-go penalties for dangerous driving, or I don't know. I'd be interested to see if the sport takes a bit of a turn down that path, you know, with some of the crashes of recent history.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm enjoying the ride so far. See what happens. Yeah.
See. Well, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Actually, Francois, last word. How can the people get in contact, buy tickets? Where do they need to head to watch?
They can buy tickets directly to British Cycling, who is organizing for us the 2 rounds of the London final. So I repeat, Saturday evening is sold out. Friday evening, still few tickets on sale. To watch it, because I think it's if you want to hear more about Kelsey's story, please watch Back on Track docu-series on Eurosport or GCN. I mean, when I heard your story, I didn't know, actually, the first time we met, I didn't know that you didn't have any cycling background, actually. From 0 to 3 years, Olympic champion? It's just amazing. So we have made a docu-series, a kind of a Drive to Survive Netflix. On them, we selected Katie Archibald, also an amazing story. So you can watch this before going back to a track Champions League event, because I think it gets you even closer to the athletes, find out about their own story. And then the whole season will be live, obviously, on Eurosport 1, Saturday evening. It's 3 hours. It's super quality. It's very entertaining. And I hope I see you there
I hope so. Yeah,
on both days.
Yeah, I think you've certainly piqued my interest. I've always been fascinated by track cycling. So the first ever cycling event I went to was the Skull 6 at Wembley in 1977 with my dad, when people were smoking in the auditorium. You could just watch the track racing through the smoke. It's different times now, thank you.
Hopefully
no smoking, guys. No smoking. But no, it's been a fascinating chat. Thanks for being so open and so honest. And in particular, these two, inspirational as well. Absolute inspirations, an utter pleasure to talk to you. And Francois, I think this is very, very exciting. It's only going to do good for the sport and elevate it and entertain us all, because that's what it's all about. It's entertaining and making us feel good. So thanks, guys. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.